Tonight in Dimension, one of the most renowned Minnesotans you've never heard of.
His name is Charles Biederman. He's an artist who left New York 50 years ago to work in rural Red Wing, Minnesota. And now, many consider Charles Biederman to be one of the most influential artists working here. He's especially well known and admired in Europe. His works sell for thousands of dollars and appear everywhere, from the Museum of Modern Art in New York to the Tate in London. He just finished his 6th book, and he recently donated his $2 million personal collection to the University of Minnesota Art Museum. And yet, he labors on in relative obscurity. Reporter Tom Stewart exposes us to Biederman's remarkable world.
Red Wing ranks right up there as one of the most culturally conscious cities in this state. Historic hotels and this stunning multi-million-dollar renovated theater.
The whole concept behind them is the interplay of light and shadow against color in a natural environment.
Also a full-time arts center featuring a valuable original by an internationally recognized artist, Charles Biederman.
The city has it insured for $35,000, but actual collectors would pay more for it, I'm sure.
Yet even in Red Wing, few realize Minnesota's most reclusive and renowned artist resides right here.
Most people really don't even know he's there.
For nearly 50 years now, Charles Biederman has lived and worked almost anonymously here in Red Wing, his late wife's hometown, methodically turning out artworks that have shown up routinely in some of the world's greatest museums. Colorful and unconventional from the outside in of the old farmhouse he holed up in back in the 40s.
No, I'm glad I got out of that New York environment and came here. Absolutely nothing. And a lot of people thought it was very funny. What is the art doing out here? Yeah. Now they're beginning to ask.
The 84-year-old artist wound up here after meeting many of the greats in Europe.
Brancusi, Leger, Picasso, and Mondrian, a lot of them.
Back then, Biederman's work looked much more traditional. Sketches, sculpture, and paintings that still keep him company half a century later.
All these things represent to me my way of finding myself and what I was trying to do.
Still, nature always awed him.
There's crystal formations of nature. They grow.
Even today, Biederman keeps old shapes and shells around for inspiration.
It's the same as I put up my artwork. I put up the artwork of nature.
So eventually, he withdrew to the woods around Red Wing, a sort of self-imposed exile that continues to this day.
If I had been an urban artist, if I kept in New York, I would never have done this art.
Here, he developed the abstract, three-dimensional metal wall reliefs called constructions, which Biederman gives numbers instead of names.
They have numbers, that's all. Like in music, Opus 34 or whatever. Yeah. I mean, they're not representative of anything else than themselves. But you get underneath it. You do all kinds of things with it.
The flicker of a flashlight brings to life the form that continues to fascinate and influence other artists, particularly in Europe.
It's not the same work all the time. And the daylight does the same thing, in that these colors that you see here are in constant motion with the motion of light. I'm taking you. Yeah.
A bad leg, however, makes it tougher to get much done in his studio these days. He can only look outside at the point in the woods that motivates so much of what he does inside.
That's the place where I study nature. That's what I'm talking about. Since 1953, I haven't moved that chair. I always have it in the same place.
So by design, Charles Biederman goes it alone, while insisting he feels far from lonely.
No, I have Cézanne, I have Monet. I'm continuing what they did.
Alert, active, and still hoping to outlast the art establishment he abandoned decades ago.
Cigars?
They're going to kill me. Yeah. But I believe in enjoying life. I hope I die before I slow down.
I'm Tom Stewart. for Dimension.
The Minneapolis Institute of Arts owns 3 of Biederman's works, and the Walker owns one of them. But none of those works is currently on display.